I'll start with this. I used to believe my wife could never lie to me. Maya and I have been married for 8 years. I'm 36 now, a maintenance supervisor at a university hospital. Blue collar, decent money, long hours. Maya's 34, works an hour at a dental clinic. No kids, though not for lack of trying. She had a couple health scares early in our marriage, ovarian cysts, a miscarriage, and after that, we just kind of stopped pushing it. I thought we were good. Not perfect, but good. She'd get sick sometimes. Real sickness. Nothing dramatic. Bad cramps, dizzy spells, migraines. She'd wind up in the every now and then, and sometimes they'd keep her overnight just for observation. She has good insurance, so it never seemed like a big deal. She hated hospitals. Always said the smell alone made her anxious, but she never complained when she had to go. And I never questioned it. Until a month ago, she had another episode, stomach pain, said she couldn't eat. I came home from work, and she was pale, shaking, holding her side. I offered to take her in myself, but she told me to stay, said she'd called her mom and they were already on their way. That was my first mistake, letting her go alone. A few hours later, she texted me that they were keeping her overnight again. Just for fluids and monitoring, she said. Same as always. I told her I'd stop by in the morning before work, bring her favorite breakfast sandwich and a change of clothes. She told me not to bother. I'll probably be discharged by then, she said. But I went anyway, and that was the moment everything began to unravel. She wasn't in the system. I went to the nurse's station. Gave her full name, birth date, room number she'd supposedly been assigned. They checked twice. Nothing. Not under her maiden name, not as a transfer. Maybe she went to a different location? The nurse offered. I left without saying a word. I texted Maya. No response. Called. Straight to voicemail. I didn't sleep that night. I told myself it was a misunderstanding. Maybe the nurse was new. Maybe Maya had checked in under some kind of emergency alias. People do that, right? But deep down, something was already clawing at my gut. So the next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I went through her nightstand. And I found something that cracked the surface. 2 appointment slips. One for a follow-up with a GI specialist. Another with a gynecologist I'd never heard of. Someone with hospital privileges. At the same she supposedly stayed at. Dr. Gabriel Lane. The name didn't mean anything at first. But I worked at a hospital. I knew how to find internal directories. And Dr. Lane wasn't just any doctor. He was the attending physician for the observation wing. Maya's overnight stays. They always lined up with his scheduled shifts. I couldn't let it go. After I found the appointment cards, I started checking everything. Not in a frenzy, not yet. I was calm, almost too calm. Like my brain had stepped out of my body and was just watching everything happen from a distance. Maya came home the next day acting completely normal. Said she was feeling better. She made us dinner, even opened a bottle of wine. She joked about being too young to be falling apart, and said maybe it was time to get serious about vitamins. She didn't know I already knew she wasn't in the hospital at all. I didn't confront her. I smiled, ate the pasta, pretended to laugh, and later, while she showered, I searched her phone. She had changed her passcode. She'd never done that before. So I started small. I went back through her calendar app on the shared iPad. She never cleared it. Just swiped through upcoming events. It didn't take long to find them. Overnight hospital stays, every 6 to 8 weeks like clockwork. Usually around a weekend, always on nights when Dr. Gabriel Lane happened to be working the I confirmed his shifts by calling in a favor with someone from the hospital scheduling department. I lied and said I was applying to a nearby role and wanted to know how rotations were structured. She pulled up a sample schedule and read me dates from the last 6 months. It matched exactly. That's when I knew. This wasn't a one-time thing. This wasn't some stupid, heat-of-the-moment hookup. Maya had been seeing him, sleeping with him, during every one of those hospital visits. On paper, it looked like she was being admitted for observation. In reality, she was being admitted by the man she was cheating on me with. A doctor, with access to beds, private rooms, medical excuses. It was the perfect cover. She knew I'd never question it because of her medical history. She used her own body as camouflage for an affair. And I had no idea how long it had really been going on. I didn't want to believe it. I kept telling myself there had to be some kind of explanation. Some innocent explanation for all of this. But then I remembered something. About 2 months ago, Maya had been unusually sore after her hospital stay. She said it was from IV bruising, showed me a mark on her wrist, looked legit. But later that night, when we were in bed, I noticed she winced when I touched her hip. Said it was just cramps. But now I wonder. I didn't sleep again that night. Instead, I signed up for a tracking app and paid for the premium version that would stay hidden in the background of her phone. I waited until she was asleep and plugged it into her charger. While she snored beside me, I loaded the app, synced it to my laptop, and watched the green light blink to life. And I felt sick, not because of what I'd done, but because I'd even needed to do it at all. This woman, the one I married, the one who cried when we lost the baby, who told me I was her rock, was spending the night in hospital beds with another man. And the worst part? She smiled at me like nothing had changed. That night, I started planning. Not to confront her, not yet, but to make sure when I did, she'd have no room to lie. No space to twist it. I'd let her dig her own grave first. 3 days. That's how long it took for the tracking app to give me the truth I already knew in my gut. Maya was careful, but not careful enough. The app I installed on her phone showed everywhere she went, not just rough locations, but exact addresses, timestamps, and even how long she stayed. The interface looked like something out of a spy movie. A clean little map with red pins dropping like bombs. The first couple days were boring. Home, work, grocery store, home again. She made dinner, asked me about my day, kissed me like nothing was wrong. Like she wasn't already betraying me in ways I couldn't even process. Then Thursday hit. She told me she had a checkup at the hospital. A follow-up from her last episode. I nodded, even offered to drive her. She smiled, touched my arm, and said, "You don't need to do that. It's just blood work. I'll be in and out." So I waited. I watched the little green dot on the tracking app move through town. She did go to the hospital. But she didn't go to the outpatient wing. No labs. No imaging suite. She went straight to the east entrance, the staff entrance. The one for doctors. She stayed inside for nearly 2 hours. The GPS signal was tight, parked right in the corner of the building reserved for overnight observation rooms. The same wing Dr. Gabriel Lane worked out of. After 2 hours, the dot moved again. This time to a nearby cafe, not even a mile from the hospital. Dr. Lane's name was on the Venmo receipt that popped up on her bank notification, which she still shared with me, though I doubted she remembered. $16.85. 2 smoothies. That's when it hit me. She wasn't even hiding it anymore. Just confident I'd never check. I called in sick the next day. I couldn't focus, couldn't pretend to be okay. Instead, I spent the day reviewing every tracking entry from the last month. Every time she got sick, it was the same pattern: hospital wing, then nearby restaurant, sometimes a hotel. There were even a couple overnight stays at the Marion Extended Suites, just far enough from downtown to be discreet, just cheap enough for short-term flings. She was a goddamn expert at this. And the whole time, I'd been home doing laundry, cooking dinner, picking up her prescriptions, thinking I was being a good husband. Now, I was just the cover story. That night, I sat in the garage with the lights off, listening to her through the wall. She was watching TV, laughing at something, texting someone. Her voice sounded lighter, younger, like she used to sound when we first got married. I wondered who she was texting. I wondered how long it had been since she looked at me that way. I thought about confronting her, barging in, throwing the phone at her feet, demanding answers. But that would give her power. She'd cry, apologize, twist things, maybe even lie straight to my face. She was good at that now. No, if I was going to do this, I had to do it right. So I started my own kind of therapy. I built a folder, labeled it May 2023 Present, Deceit, Screenshots, GPS logs, bank receipts, archived emails, even printed out 2 of her appointment cards and highlighted the time overlap with Dr. Lane's shifts. I wasn't just gathering proof. I was building a case. Because if Maya wanted to play this game in the shadows, I'd be waiting for her in the daylight. And when I was done, I wouldn't yell. I wouldn't cry. I'd let the truth do the talking. Then, I'd leave her with nothing. I thought I was close to the bottom. I thought the worst thing I could find was the fact that my wife was sleeping with a doctor in hospital rooms, hiding behind illness and IVs. But I was wrong, because it wasn't just me she was lying to. It was him too. I figured that out by accident. Late one night, Maya fell asleep on the couch. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. One of those dumb reflexes. I picked it up without thinking. She never let that thing out of her sight. Not for years. But now she was curled up in a blanket, snoring lightly. The phone lit up in my hand. A message preview. From Gabe Shot. Still thinking about last night. Hope your husband's trip is a long one. Winking face. Trip? I hadn't gone anywhere. I opened the phone. The code was still change, but by now, I had already cloned it using a backup device. Her messages were syncing automatically to my laptop upstairs. So I let her sleep, set the phone down, and walked into the garage. Booted up the laptop, and what I saw made my stomach twist. Gabe, Dr. Gabriel Lane, thought I was out of town. Again, he was asking when she'd have the place to herself next. Talking about how risky last time was. How they shouldn't use the bed again, just in case there's stray hair. The bed, our bed. She didn't even bother to get a hotel anymore. She brought him here, into my house, onto the mattress I paid for, between the sheets we bought together on our anniversary trip to Charleston. They joked about my work schedule, said things like, "Does he still do Fridays late?" And, "That garage alarm is super loud, we're lucky we didn't set it off." He didn't even know I worked at a hospital across town. He thought I was some traveling salesman or consultant. She made up an entire life for me, a fake job, fake trips, fake schedule, just to keep her affair running clean. He wasn't just her secret. I was his. That did something to me I didn't expect. I thought I'd be furious at him. I thought I'd want to confront him first, call the hospital board, out him for sleeping with a patient's wife. But all I felt was clarity. He didn't know he was the other man. He thought he was the main one. That meant she wasn't just lying to me to cover an affair. She was lying to both of us to live some fantasy in between. And that's when my plan shifted. At first, I just wanted proof, enough to walk away clean, make her look small in the aftermath. But now I wanted her world to collapse the same way mine did. So I started writing Gabe a letter. Not a threat, not a rant, just a quiet, detailed outline of the last 6 months. Her lies, her calendar entries, her marriage, me. I even printed a photo of us from our 5th anniversary. The one she framed on her desk at work. The one where she's holding my hand with that smile she always saved for special occasions. I tucked it into the envelope. And waited. I mailed the envelope on a Monday morning. Priority, no return address. Just his full name in the hospital's private physician mailbox. The one internal staff used to exchange case notes, lab slips, all that professional stuff. He'd get it in 24 hours. Maybe less. I didn't put anything dramatic on the envelope. No warning, no accusation. I wanted it to feel like any other day. Let him open it with his coffee. Let the truth hit him slow, piece by piece. Because I wasn't trying to scare him. I was trying to wake him up. Inside were 6 printed pages. No ranting, just the facts. Dates, locations, screenshots of Maya's calendar, GPS data. Their text messages, side by side with her texts to me on the same days. Then came the kicker. A photo of Maya and me, our anniversary trip, like I said, smiling in a way I hadn't seen her smile in years. I added one last note at the bottom, in plain handwriting. Just thought you deserved to know who you were sharing a bed with. Take care. And that was it. Then I waited. The next few days were strange. Maya was her usual self, too usual. Like she was trying to make up for something subconsciously. She cooked more, tried to initiate sex one night, which felt like being touched by a stranger. I let her, and I hated myself for it afterward. But I needed to keep the act going. Because I didn't want to give her any reason to suspect that the walls were closing in. By Thursday, something shifted. She got quiet, real quiet. She kept checking her phone. Reading messages, typing replies, deleting them, starting again. I watched her from the kitchen like a scientist watching a test subject. She was unraveling and didn't even know I was watching. Then around 9 p.m., she went outside to take a call. Left the door cracked open just enough. Her voice was low, angry, She kept pacing in the yard like she was trying to burn off panic. I don't know what you're talking about. Gabe, calm down. No, he doesn't know anything, I swear. This is just someone trying to mess with us. She stopped, listened, then snapped. Don't call me again until you've calmed down. She hung up. When she came back inside, her face was pale. But when she looked at me, she smiled, that fake, stretch-thin kind of smile she used when something was clearly wrong and she didn't want to talk about it. Hey, she said, I'm gonna take a bath. Long day. I nodded, didn't say a word. Watched her walk down the hall. She didn't know I'd already seen the incoming message from Gabe hours earlier, synced right to my laptop. It just said, you lied about everything. Do not contact me again. That night, I laid in bed beside her. She curled up with her back to me. I stared at the ceiling for hours, listening to her breathe, wondering if she even deserved what I was about to do next. Because the letter? That was just the beginning. Maya didn't talk much after the phone call. Something about her changed. It was subtle. Like someone who knew the floor was about to drop but was still pretending to walk normally. She started triple-checking her phone, locking the bathroom door even just to brush her teeth. She smiled less, laughed only when she thought I wasn't watching. That's how I knew it worked. Gabe had cut her off. And she didn't know why, or how, but she had a feeling. I could see it in the way she looked at me. Those longer glances, like she was trying to figure out if I'd found something, if I knew. I made sure she couldn't tell. I kissed her good morning. I made coffee. I sent her stupid memes like I always did. I even told her I was thinking about booking a weekend trip, just us, somewhere quiet. She lit up, said that sounded perfect. I knew she'd say yes. She needed it. Needed to feel like things were normal. Like she still had control. So I booked the trip. A quiet cabin 2 hours out, in the woods near a lake. Real romantic. The kind of place people post about when they're trying to fix something. I told her we needed to reconnect, spend some time just the two of us. She agreed instantly. That weekend, we packed our bags and drove up. She talked most of the way, about work, friends, movies. Everything but us. I let her talk, let her dig herself into the illusion. The cabin was cozy. Fireplace. 1 bedroom. A big bed that she kept throwing glances at like we were on some kind of honeymoon. She wanted to believe things were fine again. She didn't know I had already emptied the bank account that morning. She didn't know I'd already visited a lawyer the week before and filed for separation, with an infidelity clause and documentation attached. She didn't know I'd already sent everything to her mother, including the texts, the hospital logs, and the GPS maps. And she definitely didn't know I'd spoken to Gabe. Yes, I called him. After he go. The letter, I knew he'd want answers. So I blocked my number and left him a voicemail, short and cold. I'm not calling to fight. Just to clarify, you weren't the only one she lied to. Call me if you want to hear the rest. He called back that night. Turns out, Maya had told him I was an emotionally distant husband who worked out of town 5 days a week. That our marriage had been dead for years. That we slept in separate beds. The usual cheater playbook. He told me he never would have touched her if he'd known she was married. I believed him. He was pissed, but not at me. And I could tell he was embarrassed. I didn't ask him for anything. I didn't threaten him. I just said, I'm not here to ruin your life. But I am here to take back mine. He said, fair enough. And that was that. Now, back at the cabin, Maya was curled up on the couch under a blanket, sipping red wine and watching a movie. She looked at me and smiled. This was a good idea, she said. I think we really needed this. I smiled back. I know we did. Then I looked down at my watch and said, hey, can we talk about something? She turned toward me, casual. Sure, what's up? I reached into my bag, pulled out a printed folder, set it on the table between us. She looked down at it, then up at me. Her smile cracked just slightly. What's this? I just sat back, crossed my arms, and said quietly. Every lie you've told for the last year. With pictures, screenshots, receipts, and his text from last week telling you to lose his number. Her face changed like someone had drained all the color from it at once. She didn't say anything, didn't even try to deny it. She just stared at the folder like it was ticking. I stood up, grabbed my coat. Cabin's paid for through Sunday. Take it, drive back when you want. I'll be at my brother's. Then I opened the door. Before I walked out, I turned and said, "When I get back to the house, I expect you to be gone." I didn't look back when I shut the cabin door. I didn't wait to hear if she cried or screamed or chased after me. I didn't care. For once, I was done giving her any more space in my head. The drive back was quiet. Just me, the road, and the weight slowly lifting from my chest. I didn't feel good, not exactly. But I felt clear. By the time I got home, the house felt different. It was like the air had changed, cleaner, colder, honest. I walked inside and checked the bedroom first. Empty, closet half cleared, drawers open, bathroom counter wiped of her things. She was gone, not just from the house, but from every part of my life that mattered. I already had the locks changed. The joint bank account closed. Her name was off the utilities. Every paper trail that used to tie us together was being cut, one thread at a time. All that was left now was to make it official. The separation papers were already filed. She'd be served at her sister's place, where I knew she was staying now. Her mother had kicked her out after reading the file I sent. The woman who once told me, "You're the best thing that ever happened to Maya," hadn't spoken a word to her since. She didn't reply to my message, either. Didn't try to fight back. Didn't deny anything. Because when you lie to everyone, to your husband, your lover, your family, eventually you run out of people to lie to. But here's where the real revenge kicked in. I wasn't done. Not because I was angry, but because I wanted her to know exactly what she lost, every time she closed a hospital door behind her thinking I was too naive to see the signs. I made sure she would feel what it's like to be watched. The house? It was already up for sale. Fast-tracked by my lawyer's team. No long negotiations. We'd make a little money on the equity, but I wasn't giving her the chance to dig in. Her name was already removed from the deed by mutual agreement. She signed it before she even knew she was caught. As part of a refinancing plan, I told her we'd need to make things more affordable. She signed it like everything else, with trust I never earned but never abused. Until now. The final nail came 2 weeks later. I didn't plan it, but it might have been the cleanest cut of all. Gabe showed up at the hospital where I work. Not angry, just quiet. We crossed paths in the staff lot. He nodded, walked over. "She tell you about the baby?" I froze. "No," I said. "She didn't." He let out a short laugh. "Not the happy kind. She told me it was mine. But after that letter? Hell, now I don't know if she was even pregnant." I just nodded. He paused, then added, "For what it's worth, I didn't know she was married. She's good at lying." I looked him in the eye, and I saw it. The same hollow ache I'd been carrying for months. The dull kind. The kind that doesn't burn, just lingers. "Yeah," I said, "she's a pro." He offered me a quiet nod and walked off. That was the last time I saw him. I never told Maya I knew about the baby claim. If it was a lie, she'd sit with that. If it was true, she'd sit with that too. Either way, I wasn't playing cleanup anymore. I moved out of state 3 months later. New city, new job, small apartment that I actually liked. No echoes of the past in the walls. Just peace. The kind I forgot I needed. I haven't heard from Maya since. Not on my birthday. Not on what would have been our 9th anniversary. She's still out there, somewhere. Probably spinning some new version of herself for whoever's next. But me? I don't need closure. Because the moment I stepped out of that cabin and left the folder behind. That was the closure.